The same principle that we used for intervals applies to chords, meaning the key signature of the lowest note determines the quality of the chord. The most basic kind of chord, a triad, is made of 3 notes, and these 3 notes are built in skips. And they can be sounded one after the other, which we call melodic, or they can be sounded all at the same time, which we call harmonic. If the upper 2 notes fit within the key signature of the bottom note, we call the chord major. These 2 notes fit in the key signature of C, the lowest note, so we call this chord major. The bottom note of any chord is called the root, and the notes above the root are given numbers based on their place in the scale. In this scale, the E is the 3rd, and the G is the 5th. And root 3rd 5th is the basic voicing for any triad. And now, based on the C major scale, we've built a C major chord. From here, if the 3rd is lowered by a half step, we call the chord minor. And if both the 3rd and the 5th are lowered, we call the chord diminished. Here's the same example in a different key. Remember, the quality of these chords is determined by the key signature of the lowest note. So, if we're going to build an E major chord, we'll have to include any sharps that naturally occur in the key of E. And since the E major scale includes a G sharp, so does the E major chord. In this case, to build a minor chord, we'll lower the 3rd by simply removing the sharp. And if we also lower the 5th, we get a diminished chord. Let's go over that one more time. If we start with a major chord and lower the 3rd, we get minor. If we also lower the 5th, we get diminished. Now if we go the other way, from the major chord, if we raise the 5th a half step, the chord becomes augmented. As an example, here's a C major chord. And then we'll raise the 5th to make it augmented. And one more example of an augmented chord. If we start with an E flat major chord, we have to keep the E flat and B flat from the major scale. And then in order to raise the 5th and make this chord augmented, we just remove the flat that's on the B. You can practice identifying these chords both by sight as well as by ear in Music Theory Pro.